Kenosha's housing market just ranked number 3 in the entire country. But before you celebrate, there's something brewing under the surface that could change everything for buyers and sellers this fall. So if you listen to the national headlines, they say that the housing market is cooling or flat, or even a buyer's market in a lot of markets around the country. But that's just not the case here in the Kenosha, Racine, or southeast Wisconsin area. We're still deep in a seller's market right now. We still have multiple offers on a lot of houses that are priced correctly and move-in ready. We still see houses selling for above asking price. However, we're starting to see a little bit of a shift here in our market. And what's that mean for sellers? And what's that, more importantly, even mean for buyers in the coming months? Are things about to change? Let's talk about that. So in October of 2025, Kenosha ranked number 3 nationally for the hottest housing markets in the country in the United States, based on Realtor.com's research. That's number 3 in the whole country. We're the 3rd hottest housing market in the United States. That's pretty hot here in the Kenosha area. Can you believe that, guys? That's how hot our market is. That's how fast houses are selling. That's how much they're selling for over asking price. 3rd in the whole country. So what's that mean for buyers and sellers? Well, if you're a seller, that means that your house is going to sell really fast if it's priced right. That means you're probably going to get multiple offers. But that means you have to price it right. You have to price it at market conditions. You have to make sure that it's move-in ready. You have to make sure that it shows nice. What's it mean for buyers? It means that there's a ton of competition out there. For every house that's on the market, we tend to see 3 to 5 plus buyers that are looking at the house. We're seeing multiple showings on houses. We're even seeing multiple offers on a lot of houses. A lot of houses that are move-in ready and that are priced right, they're getting lots and lots of offers, usually at asking price or above asking price. We're still even seeing some buyers that are waiving the home inspection. They're offering appraisal gaps. They're offering all kinds of crazy stuff in their offers just to try and secure themselves that house. It's still like it's 2020 and 2021 out there. It's starting to cool down a little bit. We're starting to see some buyers that are asking for seller concessions for the seller to pay closing costs. That's starting to become a little more of a common thing here in our market, but it's slowly becoming the thing. It's still not the norm here in our market. So what's driving the high demand? Well, jobs. That's the short answer. We have so many jobs that are here in the Kenosha area and so many that are coming. We have Uline here. We have Amazon here. We have all the pharmaceutical companies here. We have so many jobs that are already here in our area, and we have so many jobs that are projected to come here. Foxconn is still supposedly hiring. We have Microsoft that says that they're gonna put their data plan in here. Well, they just pulled out of the Caledonia area, but supposedly they're still build here in the southeast Wisconsin area somewhere. We just don't know where yet. We have all these other warehouses that are building. We have the Innovation Center of Kenosha here, so that's gonna build all kinds of construction jobs. We have all these apartment complexes going up. So we have all kinds of jobs that are coming here in the Kenosha, Racine area and southeast Wisconsin in general. So we see the demand for housing just continuing to skyrocket here in the Kenosha, Racine and southeast Wisconsin area. We don't see it slowing down anytime soon. So let's talk about numbers. The median sales price in Kenosha right now is $290,600. That's up 20.1% year over year. That's a big increase. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for the market crash to happen, waiting for prices to come down, that has not happened yet for the last 5-6 years. Really since the Depression, since the recession of 2008, we've continued to see prices continue to increase year over year. Housing prices here in southeast Wisconsin have continued to go up and up and up. We have not seen prices go down any, especially since COVID. Prices continue to go up every single year, and we continue to see that happen even since 2019. Prices continue to go up year over year. In 2025, since 2024, we've seen a 20.1% increase in home prices. That's unheard of in most parts of the country. Days on market, we're seeing houses sell typically within about 40 days. This is a little bit higher just because we've seen some houses that are priced a little bit over what they should be priced at, or just some houses that are a little bit distressed that sit on the market a little bit longer than typical. So our days on market have ticked up a little bit. However, that's still lower than the average U.S. days on market, which is sitting at 48. So compared to the average U.S. days on market, our houses are selling pretty fast at 40 days on market. But not quite as fast as 2022 when houses were sitting on the market for 20 days or less. But 40 days is still pretty fast for a house when you look at, years past. 40 days is still pretty quick for houses to sell. Sales to list price ratio, sellers are typically getting 99.9% of their sales to list price. So when you list a house at, let's say $300,000, they're typically getting right around $300,000, maybe a little bit less than that, but they're typically getting at asking price, maybe a little bit less, maybe $5,000 or $10,000 less than asking price. But typically we're seeing the median sales to list price right around that $300,000, right around that ask price for most sellers. 48% of homes in the Kenosha area have sold above asking price, and only 17.8% have had price drops. So we're seeing a few more price drops than we have in the years past. So price drops at 17.8% is a little bit higher than we've typically seen in years past. So what's all this data means? So it means that homes are selling a little bit slower, but they're definitely not selling for cheaper than what you would think. So homes are taking a little bit longer to sell, so it's a little bit bad news for sellers. But they're not selling for less than you would expect them to. So that's good news for sellers. Bad news for buyers typically. So let's talk about mortgage rates. If you're a buyer, this really affects you. So the current rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage is hovering right around that 6.3% rate. It's the lowest rate that we've seen in the past 11 months. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for rates to drop, this is your time to jump in the market right now. We haven't seen rates this low in a really long time. The Fed is forecasted to cut rates again at the end of October. Whether or not they will, nobody really knows. This government shutdown has kind of thrown a wrench in the whole plans, because the Fed isn't getting the data that they typically get to make their decision. So we really don't know what the Fed is going to do at the end of October at their next meeting. But the market's already kind of priced in another rate cut at the end of October. So we'll see if they cut rates again or if they keep it the same at where it's at right now. Whether they cut rates again or whether they keep it the same, we'll probably see rates stay right around where they're at right now. So for every 0.5% drop that we see the Fed give, it's typically you get about 5% more purchasing power in your home. So right now is a perfect time to buy because rates have dropped a lot. At the beginning of the year, we saw rates around the 7.5% to 8% rate. So they've dropped, almost a full percent drop for a lot of buyers that were getting that really low rate at 7%. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for that market crash to come, like I said earlier, we don't see the market crash happening anytime soon. We just don't see those signs in the market. Foreclosures are up a little bit. That's just because banks have gotten a little more on the ball about foreclosures and noticing them and sending out those notices. But nothing compared to like 2008 crisis. We don't think there's a foreclosure crisis coming anytime soon. They're just kind of on par of what they should be. They're not backlogged like they were in 2020 or 2021. So if you're waiting for a market crash to come due to foreclosures or anything like that, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I would just jump in the market. If you love a house, if you can afford it, buy it. Maybe look at refinancing it a little bit later for that cheaper rate if they do end up cutting rates. And I said earlier in the video about how we are seeing a lot of competition, a lot of buyers for every house. We're seeing that here in the Kenosha area. Buyers that started out this summer because of higher rates, we're seeing them jump back in the market now because the rates have come down. Now that the rates are down under 6.5%, they can suddenly afford more house. They can afford that mortgage payment now. So we're seeing a lot of buyers jump back into the market now. So if you've been waiting for a certain mortgage rate, maybe talk to your preferred lender and see if the mortgage rates are where you can afford them now to afford that house that you've been dreaming of, that you've been looking at a lot. And just have that conversation, see if now's the right time or not. You never know. So hey, if you're curious what these rate drops could mean for you or your buying power or your home's current value, make sure that you visit our website at chatscottrealty.com. We've got free local market guides that you can download at any time. It breaks down Kenosha's latest price trends and where opportunities are opening up here in the Kenosha racing area. So let's talk about Southeast Wisconsin and how Kenosha's stacking out compared to the rest of our area. So the nearby markets are struggling a little bit. Chicago suburbs are down 0.8%, and Milwaukee's barely keeping up with us at 1.4%. Meanwhile, Kenosha's up 20%, and that's not just luck, that's location, lifestyle, and limited supply. So that's mainly because of Kenosha's location. We're right smack dab between Chicago and Milwaukee. A lot of people love the Kenosha area because it's a commuter city. If you want the cheaper Wisconsin taxes, if you don't want to live in the bigger city like Milwaukee or Chicago, and you just want to commute to your job, but you work in Chicago or Milwaukee, Kenosha is the perfect place for a lot of people, and a lot of people that live in Kenosha do just exactly that. So that's why a lot of people flock to the Kenosha area or Kenosha County and do exactly that. They commute to the Milwaukee area or Chicago area and live in Wisconsin for the cheaper cost of living. People also love Kenosha for the lakefront living. Who doesn't love the lakefront? You know, we have lots of lakefronts out in the county, and obviously we have Lake Michigan here in downtown Kenosha. So let's talk a little bit about how there's a little bit of a contradiction nationally. So nationally, listings are up 2.3% year over year, but pending sales are down 1.3% year over year. So why exactly is that? So yes, there are more sellers and houses on the market, but buyers are being a little more picky. Buyers are saying, you know what? I'm not just gonna step in that first house that I see and fall in love with it and make an offer. I'm gonna wait until that house that I feel at home in pops on the market, until that house comes up that I really like, that house that I wanna buy comes on the market. They're not gonna sell for any house like they did in 2020, 2021, 2022. They're gonna be a little more picky about the house that they buy now. They are waiting for that perfect house to come on the market now. Locally, we're seeing a tale of two markets. We're seeing turnkey homes that are flying off the shelves. If it's move-in ready, if you don't have to do really anything to the house and it's priced right, those homes are selling within a day or two. They're going into contract. Houses that are outdated and they're overpriced, those homes are sitting on the market. And they're staying on the market for 40, 50, 60, 100 plus days on the market. So if you're selling this fall, make sure that you are presenting your house in the best possible light and make sure that you're pricing it properly. Whether it's dated, whether it needs a little work, whether it is move-in ready, just make sure that you price it properly so that it's priced to move. You don't want it sitting on the market and collecting days on the market. The more data that collects on the market, the more that buyers think that there's something wrong with it and the lower offer that they'll submit to you. So what's gonna happen next? Well, expect prices in our market to stabilize, not crash this winter. Prices are going to level off like they do every year during the winter time. Prices always kind of stabilize. They don't typically go down, especially the last few years. They just kind of level off a little bit just because we have fewer buyers and we have fewer sellers in our market over the winter. Because who wants to move in the extreme cold in the middle of the winter? Now, it's typically a little bit better news for sellers because you have really serious buyers that are looking in the winter in December and January and February. So if you really need to sell during that time, you have really serious buyers that are looking during that time. You don't really have the tire kickers like you do during the summertime. However, October 12th through 18th is typically the best week to buy. You have less competition and motivated sellers during that week. So keep that in mind if you are looking to sell or buy. I don't know why, but that's typically the best week to buy and sell your property. So Kenosha has a really strong economy. We have new developments coming in and we have limited inventory in our area, which all point to sustained growth going into 2026. What do you guys think? What's our housing market gonna do? Drop it down here in the comments. Do you see a crash coming in 2026? Do you see our supply growing this winter? Do you see our housing supply dwindling in this winter? What do you think is going to happen to our housing market this winter time? If rates stay near 6%, we could see another wave of buyers after the holidays. Typically after New Year's, January is when we start to see another wave of buyers hit the market and start looking again. So whether you're thinking about buying, selling, investing, or relocating, don't wait until the national headlines catch up to our local market. We help people just like you every single week make their move right here in the Kenosha area. So you can call or text us at 262-331-1621 or grab yourself a free guide at chadscottrealty.com. We're happy to help you any way that we possibly can. We hope that you found this video helpful and useful and informational. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and we'll see you in the next video.